Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the 2022 Dixie Boys State Tournament here at Oscar Frazier Park in Bluffton, South Carolina. Today we have a matchup of visiting Latta. First pitch is fouled down the line, hit sharply, out of play. We have a matchup between Latta and Sumter. On field 2, we have CWC Mohawk and Hilton Head. And on field 1, I'm not quite sure who's over there yet. And that pitch is in for a strike as the pitcher for Sumter gets off to a great start. And that would be number 1, Britton Pack on the mound. And he throws that one low, trying to get Ryan Parrott to chase for a ball. And that brings the count to 1 ball and no strikes. Leading off for Latta, obviously, is Ryan Parrott. He chops one foul. Count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. As Ryan Parrott gets a start behind the plate, and he is wearing number 2, and he's the leadoff man. Shortstop Rhys Rouse is batting second, wearing number 18. Batting third is going to be number 4, the second baseman Heath Mew. As that ball is poked into right field, that's going to get through the hole on the infield. As Ryan Parrott starts the day off hot for Latta. And that's going to bring up the shortstop, number 18, Rhys Rouse. Batting cleanup is the first baseman, number 13, Brian Berry. Starting in left field is going to be number 99, Kayden Lee. Starting in center field and batting 6th is going to be number 16, J.P. Bly. And that first pitch is going to be grounded to the third baseman. He can't make the play, and they're going to be safe all around. As Rhys Rouse makes it to first, and he rounded first. If the first baseman were paying attention, he could have tagged the runner. And Rhys Rouse could have been out there. But as it was, he did not. And that's going to bring up the 3-hole second base, Heath Mew. Batting 7th is going to be number 23, Logan Bird, who gets to start at third today. That's going to be low in the dirt for a ball as the runners are going to take off, and they're going to be safe at second and third. And Latta has something going here in the top of the first as they have a runner on second and third with nobody out, and Heath Mew at the plate. Batting 8th is going to be number 9, Zach Lane, who's getting the start in right field. And rounding out the lineup is going to be Adrian Mcdonald. And that ball is hit in the air on the right side to the second baseman. He makes the play for the first out of the inning here. And that's going to bring up the first baseman, Brian Berry. Adrian Mcdonald gets the start on the mound today, and he's wearing number 5, hitting in the 9-hole. As I mentioned earlier, on the mound is going to be number 5, Britton Pack for Sumter. And behind the dish today is going to be Joshua Niswanger, number 18. As that first pitch is fouled off for a strike to Brian Berry. Here comes the 0-1 pitch, and that's poked into play to the shortstop. He's going to field it to his right, throw the ball to first in time for the out, but that will be recorded as an RBI ground out for Brian Berry. Next up to bat for Latta, their left fielder, number 99, Kayden Lee. And that's going to bring up number 99, Kayden Lee, who is getting the start in left field today. He's batting from the left side of the plate, and that ball is swung on, driven to the right center gap. And the outfielder, center fielder, calls off the right fielder, makes the play. And that's going to be 1 run for Latta as they put some barrels on the ball. And we'll be back. This is the County Channel. Welcome back here as Latta takes the field and Sumter comes to the plate. And leading off the inning for Sumter is going to be the shortstop, number 7, Bodie Bowden. And the first pitch here is going to be fouled off, hit sharply down the right field line for a strike. Your battery today for Latta is going to be Adrian Mcdonald on the mound, and behind the dish you have Ryan Parrott, who has played a very consistent game behind the plate. Here comes the 0-1 pitch, and that's fouled off straight back for strike 2. Batting second for Sumter is going to be the second baseman, number 1, Larry Johnson. In center field, batting third is going to be number 8, Dakota Cornelius. Dakota, I apologize. Dakota, I put an extra O in there. It is just Dakota Cornelius. And that pitch is going to be outside for a ball. Batting fourth is going to be the catcher, number 18, Joshua Niswanger. And here comes the 1-2. That's low and outside for a ball. Batting fifth is going to be the first baseman, number 19, Wyatt Monahan. Batting sixth, designated hitter is going to be 24, J.T. Baker. And he is hitting for the pitcher, number 5, Britton Pack. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. And that's going to be high and inside for a ball as Bowden ducks out of the way. Batting seventh is going to be the left fielder, number 2, Vance Cooper. Batting eighth is going to be number 5. Sorry, this is going to be the third baseman, number 12, Noah Hazuda. Here comes the full count pitch, and that's going to be outside for a ball as Adrian Mcdonald worked early in the count, worked ahead, and fell behind there and walked the leadoff batter as Bodie Bowden is aboard with a leadoff walk. Rounding out the lineup for Sumter is going to be the right fielder, number 3, Darian Miller. And that's going to bring up the second baseman, number 1, Larry Johnson, hitting in the 2-hole tonight. And that pitch is going to be high for ball 1. Substitutes for Sumter is going to be number 22, Jaden Tillman, number 9, Ryan Gristwood, number 4, Kurt Jackson, and number 10, Cameron Smith. And here comes the 1-0 pitch, and that's going to be high for a ball. And that'll bring the count to 2 balls and no strikes. And I forgot to mention the substitute for Latta. That's going to be number 14, Nick Mendes. Nick Mendes is the substitute there for Latta. Here comes the 2-0 pitch. That's swung on for a strike, and the runner goes. He's going to steal second base as Bodie Bowden makes his way to second. And it looked like Larry Johnson had a hit-and-run call there, as that ball may not have been a strike, but he swung at it anyway. And that's what you do when you have a hit-and-run. No matter where it's pitched, you got to swing. And that brings the count to 2 balls and 1 strike, and that's going to be another high pitch. And that brings the count to 3 balls and 1 strike. It looks like Adrian's struggling out there. He is not reaching out. And when I say reaching, that means he's not finishing his pitch. He needs to really stretch that arm out and act like he's trying to touch the catcher's mitt, and that's why he's finishing everything high. And that ball is high, and that's going to bring aboard a walk. So that's 2 walks in a row as Larry Johnson is aboard. And that brings up the center fielder, number 8, Dakota Cornelius. Not to be confused with Takuda, who does not exist. His name is Dakota. I apologize to Dakota's family. And we have a foul ball from field 2 make its way all the way over the backstop. And ladies and gentlemen, this is a pretty high backstop for someone to foul a ball off over. But we've got it all figured out here as Dakota Cornelius is going to dig back into the plate here soon. I thought we had it figured out. Now we have it figured out. And we're going to get back to the action here as Adrian Mcdonald comes set and delivers to the plate. That's going to be outside for a ball as Parrott tries to back pick to first, and he is back safely. And we're going to have a 1 ball, no strike count here to Cornelius.
It's like notes is ready here
And that ball is in there for a strike. Swung on to the left side. Shortstop Rhys Rouse makes a great play, sliding to his knees to keep the ball in the infield. If that would have gotten past him, that may have scored a run. He had nowhere to go with the ball as he could only slide and stop that ball. And now there's a lot of batters, a lot of runners on base for the catcher, the cleanup batter, Joshua Niswanger. The bases are juiced with nobody out. And that's going to be ball 1 to Joshua. And that brings the count to 1 ball and no strikes. And that pitch is high and in for ball 2. Adrian Mcdonald on Friday night during the opening ceremonies won our 3-point contest, and he has been rocking that bat bag that he won since the beginning of the tournament. And that's going to be low for ball 3 as the catcher Ryan Parrott tries a back pick to third as Logan Bird covers the base. And the runner at third is back safely. And that brings our count to 3 balls and no strikes. Adrian Mcdonald toes the rubber, and he's going to deliver the 3-0 pitch with nowhere to put Joshua here. He squares around to bunt and pulls back and takes a perfect pitch down the middle. And that's going to bring the count to 3 balls and 1 strike as Adrian Mcdonald is trying to battle back into this one with everything he's got. We've got the bases loaded here with no outs in the bottom of the first inning. 4-hole hitter up to bat. And that is outside for ball 4 as Joshua Niswanger makes his way down to first. That's going to bring up the first baseman, number 19, Wyatt Monahan.
Now batting for Mohawk. Judson,
And that'll bring an RBI double around for RBI walk. Sorry, I don't know what I'm talking about here.
The sun is out and it's hot, beautiful day right now.
We've got a nice warm day today, currently 87 degrees, but it feels like 98. And again, I would like to remind everyone out there watching, drink your water today. That ball is going to get past the third baseman on a line, out into left field. Runner on second is going to round third. He's going to go on home. Adrian Mcdonald cuts the throw off. He's going to have a play at third. He is out. The runner is out at third. 2 runs score on the RBI single by Wyatt Monahan. The runner from first was trying to stretch that out to get to third, and he was cut down trying to stretch it out. And that's going to leave the score at 2-1. That's going to bring the score to 2-1.
So the runner will advance to second base. 1-0 count here. Runner now at second.
And 1 out, as that brings up J.T. Baker, the designated hitter. That's going to be in the dirt for ball 1, as Ryan Parrott does a good job of blocking that ball.
Ball 2. 2-0 count as Seitler is way ahead. Pitcher Britsky.
And here comes the 1-0 pitch. That's going to be high and outside for ball 1. As Adrian McDonald is throwing a lot of pitches here in the bottom of the first inning. It was a great play by Adrian McDonald to have the baseball IQ to cut that ball off and throw it to the third baseman Logan Bird and get that runner at third. And that pitch is high for ball 3. That brings the count to 3 balls and 0 strikes. To J.T. Baker, who is hitting for Britton Pack in the lineup today. And that pitch is across the corner of the plate for a strike. That brings the count to 3 balls and 1 strike. We're going to have a 3-ball, 1 strike count here. And that ball is lifted in the air to right field. That's going to be a line drive over the second baseman's head. And that ball is going to come in, and that's going to be a single for J.T. Baker. And after that single, that's going to bring up number 2, the left fielder, Vance Cooper. Vance Cooper is hitting here in the 7-hole. And Sumter is just swinging the bats like crazy today, ladies and gentlemen. When they're getting those pitches to hit, they are hitting them. And that pitch is across for a strike. Great location there by Adrian Mcdonald for strike number 1, and he goes ahead in the count. No balls and 1 strike here to Vance Cooper. And that pitch is high for ball number 1. And that brings the count to 1 ball and 1 strike here to Vance Cooper, as Sumter leads 3-1. And that pitch is again high. And that's going to bring the count to 2 balls and 1 strike. A runner on first and second with 1 out. Latta is really going to look for a ground ball here. You can't really throw an off speed here with McDonald. You've really got to get him to find that fastball. And that pitch is grounded to the right side. Brian Berry's going to pick it up, throw it to second base, and they're going to tag the runner at second on a 3-4 fielder's choice. And that's going to move the runner over from second to third. And that's going to bring up the third baseman, number 12, Noah Hazuda. And that was a very interesting play. Brian Berry fielded it and did the right thing by throwing it over to second base, but it looked like he held back the throw a little bit because he thought the second baseman or the shortstop wasn't quite there at the base. And that's going to be a high pitch for a ball, as Cooper thought about going but decided to stay at first. And Brian Berry just held up and he kind of threw a ground ball over to the second baseman, and the second baseman was able to field it and tag the runner for the second out of the inning here. And that pitch is low in the dirt, and Ryan Parrott scoops the ball, throws it to second. The second baseman picks it out of the dirt and makes the tag, and he's going to be cut down stealing. And we're going to come back in the top of the second here on the County Channel. Here, as we have J.P. Bly leading off for Latta, as the first pitch is outside for a ball. J.P. Bly is looking something he can put in play. He can absolutely fly. Bly can fly down the line. That's going to be low for ball 1. Ball 2, excuse me, that is the second ball. This is my third game of the day, ladies and gentlemen, so you're going to have to bear with me if I stumble around some words. And this is the third very long day in a row that we've had up here in the booth. That pitch is swung on and missed, and that caught a piece of the umpire. He is doubled over in pain, as the right fielder and the center fielder they're trading hats out there. I think they must have grabbed each other's hats, and they've got the hats sorted out
Big cut by Bullis.
as we wait for this umpire to recover from being hit there. I think it was a foul ball, and he is pointing at J.P. Bly and laughing it off. They are all chuckling around the plate there. So I think he will be okay. He's just got to shake it off, maybe rub some dirt on it.
Tough for this Mohawk team. They are very good.
And we're going to power through it
Here's a pitch for Britsky outside. And
as the coach for Sumter picks up the umpire's mask. He's going to brush off the dirt. What a nice guy. Nice move. Picks up his hat, puts the hat on. And the coaches are going to make their way back to their dugouts or their baselines to coach. The other umpire gives him a thumbs up. Umpire behind the plate gives him a thumbs up back.
Away from Britsky. Tries to overthrow that one. That one goes back to backstop. It will
And
get
we
a
are
run home.
all good
You
here
can see he was trying
as the
to
count
throw
goes
that
to 2 balls and 1 strike
by Bullis, but
after the umpire
there, a run will
gets
come
hit
home.
by a foul ball. And that pitch is high and inside as J.P. Bly ducks out of the way. And that's going to bring the count to 3 balls and 1 strike. J.P. Bly is looking for something he can drive here. That's going to be inside for ball 4. And Bly is going to take his base. And that's going to bring up Logan Big Bird.
Number 23, Logan Bird.
A couple of nights ago, I had the pleasure of calling Latta's game where Logan Bird hit a 2-run home run against CWC Mohawk. And that was easily the hardest and farthest ball we've seen hit on this field this tournament. And if he gets a good pitch, he can absolutely crank it. And that pitch is outside part of the plate for a strike. And that's a good take by Logan Bird. You don't want to hit a first pitch off speed. And that sounds eerily similar to what happened the other night. They threw him a first pitch off speed, and he took. And that pitch is lined on the left side for a single. That's going to get in the hole. The runner is going to round second and head to third, and he's going to slide in safely as the third baseman was standing out close to left field for that ball, and he was not ready for the throw to come in for a play at third. And Logan Bird is going to be aboard with a single that advances the runner to third, and after that is going to bring up the number 9, Zach Lane, who is the right fielder. And that ball is lifted in the air on the right side. Second baseman is going to camp under it, make the catch, and the runner is going to tag up from third, and he's going to be in safely. That is something I have never seen before. Latta takes absolute advantage of J.P. Bly's speed, and Sumter's unaware of someone that would even try and tag up from on an infield fly. J.P. Bly tagged up on a fly ball to the second baseman. And that's interesting because that's not going to be recorded as an at-bat. That's going to be a sacrifice fly. And that's going to be a ball in the dirt for ball 1 here to Adrian McDonald. Adrian McDonald is starting on the mound today, and he's also hitting in the 9 hole. As that pitch is high and outside for a ball. Logan Bird is aboard second base after that wild pitch. Adrian McDonald's looking for something he can poke into the outfield and maybe bring Logan Bird around. And that's going to be taken for a strike. That brings the count to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Or maybe it's 2 balls and 1 strike. I'm not quite sure here. That's going to be 2 balls and 1 strike. And that's a foul ball. That's going to be 2-2. For some reason, I had a momentary lapse in my memory and could not remember what the first 2 pitches were, and they were balls. But that foul ball is going to even the count to 2-2. 1 out with a runner on second as Latta trails 3-2. And that pitch is lifted on the right side. That's going to get down in fair territory. Logan Bird is going to round third as the plate throw is going to come to the plate. Not in time. Logan Bird's going to score. Adrian McDonald is going to make his way all the way to third as the on-deck batter hit the deck. He was trying to figure out where to go and wanted to get out of the way of the catcher, and he just laid straight on his stomach to make sure that he was not in the way. And that was a great at-bat by Adrian Mcdonald. That's going to be an RBI double with advance on the throw, and he's going to stand aboard third and bring up the leadoff hitter, the catcher, Ryan Parrott. And that ball's going to be hit back to the pitcher. And the pitcher's going to check his runner, and Ryan Parrott was flying down the line. He's safe at first, and he's going to dive back to the base. He's safe. He thought about going to second because he thought that first baseman was going to throw the ball home because there might have been a play if the runner at third would have gone. And Ryan Parrott really thought he threw it, so he started turning to go to second. And whenever you make a move to go to second, you are back in play. And the first baseman attempted to make a tag but could not quite get it. And Ryan Parrott is aboard first in this 3-3 ball game as the shortstop, Ryan Parrott, comes to the plate. That ball is lifted in the air. That's going to be out to the shortstop. He's going to call for the ball, make the play. There's going to be a throw home. Play at the plate is going to be in time. They're going to get Adrian Mcdonald out at the plate as they tried to tag up on an infield fly once again. And we'll be back on the Beaufort County Channel. Leading off the inning here for Sumter is going to be Noah Hazuda. He gets a clear count after they caught the runner stealing there last inning. And the first pitch is going to be high for ball one from Adrian Mcdonald, who has struggled to find the zone so far here today. He's been throwing a lot of pitches high. And that's a strike. That might be the best pitch we've seen thrown here by Adrian Mcdonald. If he could stay there and find his groove, then Latta will be in business. And that's going to be a 1-1 count. And that ball is high for ball 2. And that brings the count to 2 balls and no strikes. And again, this is Noah Hazuda, who got a clear count to start the at-bat after Ryan Parrott caught the runner stealing at second. Last inning, and that's going to be in the dirt for another ball. That's going to bring the count to 3 balls and 1 strike. And here in the bottom of the second inning, with the score 3 runs to 3 runs. And we are deadlocked in this tie at the moment. Here comes the 3-1 pitch, and that's in there for a strike to fill the count. 3 balls, 2 strikes, and nobody out here at Leo Vanoni Memorial Field, a.k.a. Field 3 at Oscar Frazier Park. And here comes the payoff pitch. And that's in there, swung on for strike 3. As Adrian Mcdonald strikes out Noah Hazuda to start off the inning. And that's going to bring out the right fielder, number 3, Darian Miller. And that was the best at-bat that Adrian Mcdonald has thrown to so far today to strike out Noah Hazuda. And that pitch is high for ball 1. And we're hoping that Adrian McDonald can find the zone here. We want to see some kids swing the bat, and we like excitement over here on Field 3. That ball is lifted in the air over to the right side. Right fielder has a beat on it, makes the grab as he's camped under it for the second out of the inning, as the score remains 3-3. There was some good hustle by the center fielder as well to get there to back up the catch. He ran so fast over there, his hat flew off his head. And after the fly out to the right fielder, that's going to bring up the shortstop, number 7, Bodie Bowden. And that is in the dirt for ball 1. And I believe his first at-bat, he walked. I'm going to check with Michael Sapp real quick to see what he did his first at-bat. He did indeed walk, and my memory is not as bad as I think it is sometimes. And that's going to be high for ball 2, and he is off to a good start if he is trying to draw another walk here. That brings the count to 2 balls and no strikes as Adrian McDonald delivers the third pitch of the at-bat in there on the outside corner for a strike right over the black part of the plate. And he is painting the corners today on Field 3. Adrian McDonald, the reigning 3-point champion of the South Carolina State Baseball Tournament. And that pitch is fouled off on the right side, headed toward the parking lot for strike 2. And that's going to bring the count to 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs in the second inning. Deuces are wild.
All right, back here on Field 2 at Oscar Frazier Park. Number 3, CWC Mohawks is leading 3-0 over the All-Stars, and Hill has a new pitcher on the
And the
mound.
pitch is fouled off as Bowden puts together a great at-bat here. He is really fighting to stay alive as he keeps the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes on a very good pitch by Adrian McDonald.
1-1 count now to Briscoe, who likes eating some chicken wings.
And here comes another 2-2 pitch. And that's going to be grounded to the shortstop. Rhys Rouse is going to fumble the ball a little bit, and Bowden is going to reach safely on an error by Rhys Rouse.
Next up at bat, second baseman.
And that's going to bring up the second baseman, Larry Johnson, whose favorite food is cordon bleu.
Go outside. Ball 3. Or excuse me, strike 2.
His favorite movie is High School Musical. And that ball is lifted in the air to the left side. That's going to get past the left fielder. That's going to fall down. That's going to reach all the way to the fence as the runner is going to be held up at third. And Larry Johnson with a very nice 2-out double. And that puts a runner on second and third with 2 2 outs in the bottom of the second inning. And that's going to bring up the number 3 hitter, the center fielder, Dakota Cornelius, who, if you remember, had a little bit of confusion with his ball cap out there in right field and center field. The right fielder and the center fielder traded hats last inning. I guess they just grabbed each other's hats off the dugout bench. And here comes the 0-0 pitch with 2 outs. That swung on and missed as the catcher, Ryan Parrott, tries a back pick to third. Logan Bird tosses the ball back to Adrian Mcdonald, and the count goes to no balls and 1 strike as Dakota digs back in. And that ball is fouled off straight back and brings the count to no balls and 2 strikes. Dakota Cornelius said that his favorite food is French fries. And his favorite movie is the Titanic.
1-2 count now. Nice little curveball by Middleton, but he will not get the call.
Here comes the 0-2 pitch. That's outside for a ball.
Pitch here coming from Middleton from the windup. Swung on.
Dakota Cornelius, they played a game earlier on field number 2, and he made an outstanding diving catch. I was able to watch it actually out of the window to my left side. And that ball runs inside, and that's going to catch Cornelius right on the shoulder. He's going to make his way down to first on the hit by pitch, as Adrian McDonald still struggles to find control out there on the mound. And that's going to bring up number 18, Joshua Niswanger. Joshua Niswanger came up last inning with the bases loaded and no outs, and he walked, so he had an RBI walk, and now he comes up again with the bases loaded and nobody out. And that's exactly the situation you want your 4-hole hitter in, as that pitch is outside for a ball. Niswanger said his favorite food is spaghetti and meatballs. His favorite movie is Inside Out. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. And that is high for another ball. The count moves to 2 balls and no strikes. Niswanger said he really likes the little red man on Inside Out. That represents the emotion of anger. He said it makes him laugh every time he watches it. And that pitch is high again for ball 3, as Adrian McDonald continues his pitching woes here in the bottom half of the second inning. Count goes to 3-0. And with your 4-hole hitter up, you've got to imagine the coach is giving him the green light here. If he gives him a pitch to hit, he's going to really take a swing. And that's exactly what he does. He lifts the ball out to left center field. The center fielder drifts back. He dives. And that ball finds the outfield grass as Niswanger has a 3 RBI double. And he is standing up on second base, as that ball just got over the center fielder's head. It looked like he took maybe a bad angle at it and had to dive over his shoulder to try and catch that ball and just couldn't quite come up with it. And that's going to bring up the designated hitter, J.T. Baker. Excuse me, that is not going to bring up J.T. Baker. That is going to bring up Wyatt Monahan. The first pitch is swung on and missed for strike 1. And his first at-bat, he had a 2 RBI single, Monahan. And the second pitch is low and inside for a ball, and that evens the count at 1-1 with 2 outs. Sumter now leads 6-3 in the bottom of the second inning. The next pitch on the way, and that's low for ball 2, as Ryan Parrott blocks that one up to keep the runner at second. Great job by Ryan Parrott there. He has played a great game behind the plate. Wyatt Monahan said his favorite food is... Oh, that is put put into play out to shortstop. Rhys Rouse coming on. He throws over to first in time as Brian Berry picks the ball out of the dirt. But Sumter scores 3. And we will be right back with you. Thanks for hanging out on the Beaufort County Channel. Leading off the inning here for Latta in the top of the third is going to be Heath Mew, who has had 2 great starts on the mound so far. And that's going to be low for ball 1. He's had a great tournament pitching and at the plate so far this week. He started his last game over on field 1 against Beaufort County, and they got the win over there. And that's going to be outside for ball 2. He started on night 1 as well over here on field 3, and they won that game as well. He has hit for a single so far today, and that's going to be low for ball 3. Heath Mew's favorite food is cheeseburgers, and his favorite movie is The Avengers. And I think his favorite Avenger is The Incredible Hulk. And that's going to be ball 4. He's going to make his way down to first base with a leadoff walk. And Latta has the leadoff man aboard. They've got something brewing here with number 13, Brian Berry, stepping to the plate, whose favorite food also is cheeseburgers. His favorite movie is Forrest Gump. And Brian Berry is hoping he can run like Forrest Gump here if he puts a ball in the outfield. And that's high and inside for ball 1. And that brings the count to 1 ball and no strikes with a runner on first. And you wonder if Heath Mew is going to try and swipe second here. This would be the time to steal. And that's a low and away for ball 2. And that's going to bring the count to 2 balls and no strikes. If I were this coach for Latta, I would be sending Heath Mew on this pitch. And he's not going to do that. As Brian Berry lifts one to left field, that's going to get down and find the gap. That's going to go all the way to the fence. They are waving Heath Mew around third. The throw to the shortstop, throw to the plate. That's going to be in time. They're going to get Heath Mew at the plate as he was trying to stretch out from first to score, as Brian Berry almost came up with an RBI double, but he has just a regular double, and he advanced to third on the throw. That was a absolute rocket out to left center field, and Heath Mew just couldn't quite come around to score, as he was cut down at the plate on a fantastic relay throw from the shortstop out there. That is Bodie Bowden. Bodie Bowden made a great throw on that ball, and that's outside for ball 1 to Kayden Lee. Bodie Bowden, that was a great relay all the way from the beginning to the end, and that was the left fielder Vance Cooper throwing the ball to Bodie Bowden and relaying it in home for the out. That ball is swung on and missed for strike. That's going to bring the count to 1 ball and 1 strike here to Kayden Lee. As Britton Pack continues his work on the mound, and that's going to be put in play to the second baseman, and that will do a job as Kayden Lee has a sacrifice ground out, and that's going to score Brian Berry from third as Kayden Lee notches the RBI.
16, J.P. Bly.
And that brings up first the outfielder J.P. Bly, who is starting out in center field. And if you remember, he can absolutely fly around those bases. He had a single his last time up, and that's called strike 1. His favorite food is chicken tenders, and he enjoys the movie Sandlot. He likes watching the movie Sandlot. He has a pair of PF Flyers and hopes to be just like Benny the Jet Rodriguez one day. As that pitch is low, and that's going to even the count up 1-1. And we have 1 out here. Excuse me, we have 2 outs here in the top of the 3rd inning as Sumter leads 6-4, and that pitch is outside for a ball, and that's going to bring the count to 2 balls and 1 strike. J.P. Bly's favorite baseball team is the Los Angeles Dodgers, and his favorite sports idol is Steph Curry. We would like to thank our sponsors, Palmetto Axes and The Zone, as that pitch is low and away for a ball. As we're playing here with 2 outs. And that's low for ball 4, as J.P. Bly is going to make his way down to first. He was hustling down the line there. And that's going to bring up the third baseman, number 23, Logan Bird, who hit a single his last time up over to the left side in between the shortstop and the third baseman. His favorite food is pizza, and his favorite movie is the movie that has created the phenom all around the world for men to grow out their mustaches, Top Gun Maverick. And that ball is hit out in the gap in left center field, and that's going to bring J.P. Bly around second. He's rounding third, and there's going to be another play at the plate, most likely. Never mind. J.P. Bly is way too fast. As I've mentioned before, he can absolutely cruise around those bases as Logan Bird stands with a stand-up double, and he mixes the bowl on second base with an RBI double. And that RBI double brings up number 9, the right fielder, Zach Lane. And that ball is swung on and fouled behind the plate. As Logan Bird continues to have an outstanding tournament here at Oscar Frazier Park. If you remember, Zach Lane was the one who hit the sacrifice fly to second base last at bat. And that is low in the dirt for a ball as Logan Boyd steals third. Logan Bird steals third base as Zach Lane squared around to bunt and pulled it back. Zach Lane's favorite food is chicken, and his favorite movie is Rookie of the Year, as that ball is hit out to second base. Second baseman tries to scoop it, and he doesn't quite pick it up, but he picks up the ball off the ground, throws it to first for the out, and that'll end the inning there. We'll be right back on the Beaufort County Channel. Leading off the inning here for Sumter is going to be the designated hitter, J.T. Baker. He's swinging it from the left side here, as we have a new arm on the mound for Latta. That's going to be moving from shortstop. And that ball is in there for a strike, lifted up to right field. That's going to get way over the right fielder's head, and that's going to be a single for J.T. Baker as he rounds first and goes on back to first. And that's going to be a first pitch single, leadoff single for J.T. Baker, and that's going to bring up Vance Cooper, who has grounded into a fielder's choice, first base to second base. And on the mound is the shortstop. Moving over from shortstop is Rhys Rouse, who has the best hair in the tournament. And that ball is grounded to the shortstop. That one's gonna go between his legs there at short. And that would have been a tailor-made double play, but he can't quite come up with the ball. And now we have a runner on first and second with no one out, as Noah Hazuda makes his way up to the plate, who earlier in the game struck out. Noah Hazuda has started the game at third, and now is back up to bat here as Rhys Rouse fires one high for a ball, and that's going to bring the count to 1 ball and no strikes, as Sumter leads 6-5 here in the bottom of the third. And that ball is poked into play to the shortstop. He's going to field it, throw it to second. Second's on to first for a double play. That's going to be a 6-4-3 double play for Latta.
Number 3, Darian Miller.
And that is a great way for that shortstop to redeem himself after that error.
Full count pitch coming. Here's a pitch from Middleton. All speed pitch is swung on and missed.
And J.T. Baker is on third now after that ground ball to the shortstop. And that's going to bring up Darian Miller, who flew out to the right fielder earlier in this game, as that ball runs inside and brings the count to 1 ball and no strikes. Darian Miller said his favorite, that's high for a ball. He said his favorite food is steak and potatoes.
In a minute. 30 seconds out.
As the 1-1 pitch is inside for a ball. Sorry, that was a 2-0 pitch, and that's going to bring the count to 3-0. His favorite movie is Get Smart. And that pitch is right down the middle for a strike, and it looked like Miller was taking that pitch all the way. That brings the count to 3 balls and 1 strike with 2 outs and a runner on third. Rhys Rouse working from the stretch. And that's low for ball 4. Darian Miller is going to take his base, and that's going to bring up the leadoff batter, Bodie Bowden. He's starting the game at shortstop here, and so far today he has walked and reached on an error by the shortstop.
All right, we're ready, Rob.
And that is in the dirt for a ball, as the runner on first is going to take off and take second easily. The runner on third remains there. Bodie Bowden said his favorite pro baseball team is the Tampa Bay Rays. His favorite player is Brett Phillips. And that ball is lined just over the shortstop's head as he makes a jumping attempt. And that's going to bring 2 runners across with a 2 RBI single by Bodie Bowden. And that's going to bring the score to 8-5. Sumter is leading this game as Larry Johnson now digs into the plate. Johnson's favorite team is the Arizona Diamondbacks, as that ball gets past Ryan Parrott behind the plate. And Bodie Bowden steals second, and he was really cruising as he slid into second there head first. That brings the count to 1 ball and no strikes here to Larry Johnson. That ball is chopped foul down the left side as the on-deck batter does not even really move to get that ball. That's going to be a 1-1 count here to Larry Johnson as we continue the baseball here in the bottom of the 3rd inning with 2 outs, and that ball is hit off the cap of the bat with some funky spin over to Brian Berry, who fields it and steps on first. And that's the 3rd out, but not before Sumter scores 3. And we'll be right back with you on the Beaufort County Channel. And that brings the count to no balls and 1 strike. Adrian Mcdonald's favorite food is chicken as he chops that one into fair territory. The catcher's going to make a move, pick up the ball, and fire it to first. Not in time. That's going to get down the right field line. Adrian Mcdonald's going to round first. He's headed for second. He's going to be in, standing up with an infield single and advanced on an error. And a very heads-up play to turn and head to second there. And that throw was just off the mark from the catcher, and that's going to turn the lineup over and bring up the catcher, Ryan Parrott, who so far has hit a single and grounded into a fielder's choice. And that ball is lifted up on the left side. Third baseman is drifting. He makes the grab for out number 1. And we have a loud yell here in the press box, so I got very distracted during that call. And that's going to be 1 out here in the top of the 4th as Rhys Rouse, pitcher, makes his way to the mound. As you could probably hear that scream. You could probably hear that scream in the press box. And if you're listening at all to Field 2, Matt Watts is about to kick Ken Tinsley out of the press box. That's who made that yelling noise. And that is swung on and missed for strike 1 by Rhys Rouse, whose favorite movie is Step Brothers. As the catcher stands up and he's pointing at the plate, as Rhys Rouse has a very open stance to start his at-bat, and whenever the pitch comes, he closes that stance up, and that is inside for a ball, and that's going to even the count up at 1 ball, 1 strike, and we have 1 out with a runner on second here in the top of the 4th. As Latta trails 8-5. That runs inside as well for a ball. That's going to be a 2-1 count here to Rhys Rouse, whose hair is very similar to the color of the yellow stripe going across the back of their jerseys there. And that pitch is going to catch the outside part of the plate for a strike, and that's going to even the count to 2-2. Rhys Rouse's favorite pro baseball team is the Atlanta Braves, and his favorite sports idol is Ronald Acuna Jr., who announced yesterday that he is going to participate in the Home Run Derby. And that is held off. He held off his swing there, and that pitch is low for a ball, and that's going to fill the count. Adrian Mcdonald thought about trying to swipe third there, but he had second thoughts as he returned back to second. And we have a payoff pitch here at the plate. That's going to be lined to left field. That's going to get down the line. Adrian McDonald's going to round third, and he's going to score. Rhys Rouse is going to be aboard with a stand-up double with an RBI.
Now batting second baseman number 4, Heath Mew.
And that's going to bring up Heath Mew, the second baseman here for the Latta All-Stars. His favorite pro baseball team is the Atlanta Braves, and his favorite sports idol is Freddie Freeman, and that is low and outside for a ball to Heath Mew. So far today, Heath has singled and walked. And let's see if he has some more magic in that bat here. And that's low for a ball. And that brings the count to 2 balls and no strikes here with a runner aboard second. And 1 out in the top half of the 4th inning as the score. And that's going to be on the ground to the third baseman. He's going to field it, check his runner. Rhys Rouse is going to take off, but the throw to first is going to get out of the first baseman's mitt. He is safe at first, safe at third, as Heath Mew is aboard with an error by the first baseman.
First baseman number 13, Brian Berry.
And that's going to bring up the first baseman, Brian Berry. Brian Berry had a double to the left center gap as Heath Mew is going to take off and steal second with no throw down. Rhys Rouse had an RBI ground out to the shortstop, and he had a double earlier in the left center gap. And that's a strike on the outside part of the plate, and that's going to even the count 1-1. 1 out, runner on second and third. The score here is Latta 6, Sumter 8. Brian Berry up to the plate, and he hits a ground ball. That's going to be fair down the third base line. The third baseman made a great play, but he could not quite make the throw over as Brian Berry hustles down the line and is safe at first with the infield single and the RBI.
Now batting left fielder number 99, Kayden Lee.
And that's going to bring up number 99, Kayden Lee, who's swinging from the left side of the plate here. And he's getting the start in left field. So far today, Kayden has flown out to the center fielder and hit a RBI ground ball to the second baseman as Brian Berry takes off. That's going to be in the air to center field. That should score a run here as Heath Mew is going to make his way to the plate. And Brian Berry almost got doubled up at first, but he did not quite get him. That was a heads-up play by the center fielder for Sumter to try and throw behind Brian Berry there. That's going to be an RBI sac fly to tie up the game here in the top of the 4th. And it is 8-8, and that brings J.P. Bly up to the plate. J.P. Bly so far has singled and walked. And that ball is going to be lifted to the left side. Third baseman drifting back. He makes the play for the third out, but not before Latta ties the game up. 8-8 as we go into the 4th inning, the bottom of the 4th inning on the Beaufort County Channel. Welcome back here to the bottom of the fourth inning as we are tied up 8-8. And we have Sumter, Dakota Cornelius at the plate leading off the inning. And that is thrown high and inside as Dakota does not pull the bat back. And that's called a strike as he squared around to bunt. And a couple of defensive shifts. Rhys Rouse is back in at shortstop. We have a timeout called on the field as the coach for Latta runs out on the field to get a foul ball. And Rhys Rouse moves back to shortstop from pitching. And on the mound now is going to be Logan Bird as he throws a strike foul ball. And that brings the count to no balls and 2 strikes. Brian Berry has moved over to third base. And Kayden Lee is now playing first. Heath Mew is the only one that remains in the same position at second base. The 0-2 pitch here from Bird. It's going to be an off-speed outside for a ball. That's going to bring the count to 1 ball and 2 strikes. And I'm thinking that coach is going to call another off-speed pitch here. Maybe throw one in the dirt. And that's exactly what happened there. But unfortunately for Bird, Cornelius has too much discipline at the plate, and that's great eyes by Dakota Cornelius to not swing at that pitch as the 2-2 pitch is on the way. And that ball is hit in the air to the right side, and the ball is missed by the right fielder. That's going to get down. Dakota is rounding first. He makes his way to second for a stand-up double, as the right fielder just couldn't quite come down with the ball. And that's going to bring up the 4-hole hitter, Joshua Niswanger. And so far today, Joshua Niswanger has walked and hit a 3 RBI double. And let's see what he has for us now as he comes to the plate with a runner on second and nobody out. Pitch on the way, and that's fouled off into the fence for strike 1. That's going to bring the count to no balls and 1 strike. Niswanger's favorite team is the Washington Nationals, and his favorite player is Rondon. And that is outside for a ball. That's going to even the count 1-1. His favorite player is Anthony Rondon. And we now have a 1-1 count. No outs with a runner on second. And that's going to be a balk as the runner Cornelius is going to make his way to third. And the pitcher and the umpire were making leg kick movements. So I can only imagine that that was something to do with a leg kick is the reason that the balk was called there. And that ball is lifted in the air to the right side, out to right field. The right fielder is camped under it, makes the catch, and the runner tags up from third. There's the play at the plate, not in time as Ryan Parrott blocks that ball up. But the run comes across to score and moves the score to 9-8. Sumter leads on that RBI sac fly by Joshua Niswanger.
First baseman, number 19, Wyatt Monahan.
And that's going to bring up Wyatt Monahan to the plate, who so far has a 2 RBI single and has grounded out to the shortstop. As we have 1 out, the base is clear. Sumter leads 9-8 in the bottom of the 4th inning. Here at Field 3.
Michael, we got some outs.
And that pitch is high for ball 1 as the count moves to 1-0. 1 ball and no strikes with 1 out. And that pitch is high for ball 2 as the count moves to 2 balls and no strikes to Wyatt Monahan. He's looking to start things back up here for Sumter after the RBI sac fly, and that's across for a strike. That's going to bring the count to 2 balls and 1 strike. For all of you following at home, Field 1 has now finished the action. McBee won 3-2. So they will be advancing, and Andrews was eliminated. And that pitch is high for ball 3, and that's going to bring the count to 3 balls and 1 strike. And the action here over on Field 2, CWC Mohawk and Hilton Head. As that pitch is swung on and missed for strike 2. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Field 2 score update between CWC Mohawk and Hilton Head. Mohawk is leading 3-0. And here we are 9-8 in favor of Sumter, and that's ball 4 to Monahan. He's going to make his way down to first. And there's going to be a runner aboard with 1 out here as JT Baker comes to the plate, who is 2 for 2 with 2 singles. JT Baker's favorite team is the Atlanta Braves, and his favorite player is Harris III. And that's low and inside for a ball. And that brings the count to 1 ball and no strikes. When Baker grows up, he wants to be an engineer. And that's grounded to Rhys Rouse at short. And then he's going to flip it to second. Second's going to step on the base, toss it to first. And that's going to be a 6-4-3 double play to get Latta out of the inning. And we'll be back on the Beaufort County Channel. And leading off the inning here, we have the man that was on the mound, Logan Bird, who is having a great tournament so far defensively and offensively. As last at bat, he had a 2 RBI double, and earlier in the game he also hit a single. And that ball is fouled off for strike 1. He quickly goes down. No balls and 1 strike. Logan Bird is rocking the pink batting gloves, and he is the only one out here that I have seen that is wearing those pink batting gloves. And let me tell you, I am a huge, huge fan of the pink batting gloves. And here comes the 0-1 pitch, and that's off speed, fouled off down the right side, and that's going to be 0-2 is the count here to Logan Bird, whose favorite pro baseball team is the Atlanta Braves. And his favorite sports idol is Shohei Ohtani. He likes the dual threat of pitcher and hitter, as that's a fantastic curveball, and that buckles Bird, and he's going to strike out looking. And that strikeout is going to bring up Zach Lane, the right fielder. And so far today, Zach Lane has hit a sacrifice fly to the second baseman and hit a ground ball to the second baseman. Let's see if he can do something here away from the second baseman. His favorite baseball team is the Chicago Cubs, as he lifts this one out to center field, and that's going to be caught for the second out of the inning here. That's going to be...
Next up to bat number 5.
That's going to bring up number 5, Adrian Mcdonald, who started on the mound today. His favorite pro baseball team is the Anaheim Angels, and his favorite sports idol is Mike Trout. And that's a great favorite player there, as there's some excitement on field 2. I'm getting a little distracted, and that's low for ball 1, as my cohort Matt Watts is making fantastic calls over there. It's very distracting, and it's because Hilton Head is making a comeback, and they are down by 1. And the second pitch there is fouled off to the right, out of play, and that's going to bring the count to 1 ball and 1 strike. Hilton Head is climbing back in the game. They have some momentum going with a runner on third, down 1 run. The score is 3-2 over on field 2. And that pitch is low in the dirt for a ball. That brings the count to 2 balls and 1 strike to Adrian Mcdonald, who's trying to get something started here with 2 outs in the top of the 5th, as Sumter leads 9-8. And that's swung on and chopped back to the pitcher. He's going to pick it up with his bare hand, throw over to first in time. He's going to be out at first. We'll be right back. Sumter coming to the plate on the County Channel. Back to the action here as we're finishing the warm-up for Latta. And up to the plate here for Sumter is going to be number 2, the left fielder Vance Cooper, who so far today has grounded out to the first baseman on a fielder's choice and reached on an error by the shortstop. Back on the mound here we have Logan Bird for Latta, and that's going to be inside for a ball, and that's going to bring the count to 1 ball and no strikes, as Latta also has a defensive substitution, which I'll tell you after this pitch. That's going to be fouled back for a strike. That brings the count to 1-1. Adrian Mcdonald is now out of the game, and number 14, Nick Mendes, has entered the game. Nick Mendes has entered the game for Adrian Mcdonald, and he is in the outfield. I'm not sure which position. And that is hit in the air, foul, and that stayed inside the fence, it looked like, inside the fence of the park for strike number 2, and that's going to bring count to 1 ball and 2 strikes here to Vance Cooper.
Next up to bat,
whose favorite food is Chili's macaroni and cheese.
Top of the 6th inning.
As the 1-2 pitch is on the way. And that's an off-speed high for ball 2, as Logan Bird is a little frustrated with himself as he can't get the bender down in the zone.
Put more runs and regain the lead here in the top of the 6th.
Here comes the 2-2 pitch to Vance Cooper.
Cal Middleton still on.
And that is swung on and missed. Blew the fastball by him for strike number 3 and out number 1. And that's going to bring up Noah Hazuda, who got the start at third base today, and so far has struck out and grounded into a short to second to first double play. And that is low in the zone for ball 1. Noah says his favorite team in the MLB is the Toronto Blue Jays, and his favorite player is Ken Griffey Jr. And that pitch is high for a ball. And that brings the count to 2 balls and no strikes.
Once two teams are battling out there, two very evenly matched competitive ball clubs.
2 balls and no strikes here to Noah Hazuda on this warm, humid Tuesday afternoon. And that pitch is swung on and missed for strike 1. That brings the count to 2 balls and 1 strike to Noah Hazuda, whose favorite food is sushi. And that is on the outside part of the plate for a strike. That evens the count to 2-2. His favorite movie is Moana. He said he really likes Maui. And that ball is swung on and missed for strike number 3.
Now batting right fielder, number 3, Darian Miller.
And that's going to be the second out of the inning there for Latta and Logan Bird. And that's going to bring up the 9-hole hitter, Darian Miller, who so far has flown out and walked, as that pitch is across for strike 1. Brings the count to no balls and 1 strike. He said his favorite team is the Chicago White Sox. And that pitch is swung on and missed for a strike. And that brings the count to no balls and 2 strikes. He said he enjoys visiting Chicago and seeing the Chicago River flowing right through downtown. And that's a curveball across the plate for strike 3. Logan Bird makes quick work. And that brings Latta back to the plate as we move to the top of the 6th on the County Channel. Welcome back as we finish the warm-up pitches here And we have a new arm on the mound for Sumter, and that's going to take the shape of Bodie Bowden. He's going to move over from shortstop to the mound. I'm not quite sure of any other defensive moves. I know we have a new shortstop in, but I am not quite sure who it is. And we're going to keep on cruising through this game. That was a very good throw down there by the catcher, as the catcher is now going to brush off home plate for the umpire. The umpire just handed him the brush, and that is Joshua Niswanger with his act of kindness for the day by brushing off the plate for the umpire. And starting off the inning for Latta is going to be Ryan Parrott, as the first pitch comes in high and away for ball number 1. And we are underway here in the top of the 6th. And that pitch is fouled off for a strike, and that brings the count to 1 ball and 1 strike. As Bodie Bowden has kind of a sidearm delivery here, and that can be kind of deceiving to batters, especially someone hitting from the right side. Thankfully for Ryan, he gets to see this new arm from the left side of the plate. And here's the 1-1 pitch, and that's going to be hit on a line out to center field, but the center fielder makes the play for out number 1. And that's 3 pitches, 1 out for Bodie Bowden, and that's going to bring up the shortstop, number 18, Rhys Rouse, who so far has reached safely on an error, hit a fly ball to the shortstop, and hit an RBI double down the left field line. His favorite artist is Lil Baby, and other than baseball, he plays basketball. When he grows up, he wants to be a dentist. And that's high for ball 1. As he starts the count, 1 ball and no strikes. And Sumter leads here 9-8 in the top of the 6th inning, and that pitch is high but swung on. That was around the chin. That was up at chin level, but Rhys Rouse thought it looked good, so he swung on, and that's going to even the count to 1 ball and 1 strike with 1 out. And that pitch is fouled straight back for another strike, and that's going to bring the count to 1 ball and 2 strikes. As Rhys Rouse tries to make something happen here with 1 out in the top of the 6th inning. Bodie Bowden is working hard up there on the mound. Throws an off speed. That's going to be chopped to the shortstop. He fields the ball. Throw over to first. In time as the umpire calls him out at first. And that's going to be 2 down. Good play by the shortstop there for Sumter. And Rhys Rouse is retired on that ground ball to the shortstop. And that's going to bring up the second baseman, number 4, Heath Mew, who's looking to keep his good day going. As the first pitch is swung on and missed. So far, he has a single, a walk, and he is reached on by an error by the first baseman. And here comes the 0-1 pitch with 2 outs, and that's high for ball 1. Heath Mew's favorite artist is Morgan Wallen, and besides baseball, he plays basketball and soccer. That pitch is high and inside for ball 2, as the count moves to 2 balls and 1 strike. If you have an axe to grind, Palmetto Axes has your target. Fun for ages 12 and up. That pitch is high for ball 3. That brings the count to 3-1. Mention you heard this ad and receive 10% off at Palmetto Axes. You must wear closed-toed shoes to throw. Here comes the 3-ball, 1 strike pitch. And that's going to cross for a strike. The count goes full as Heath Mew digs back into the plate here, looking to get things started with 2 outs for Latta. And the payoff pitch, and that's across the outside part of the plate for strike 3. And that's going to retire the side as we move to the bottom of the second. Sumter comes to bat when we come back on the Beaufort County Channel. Leading off the inning here for Sumter is going to be number 7, Bodie Bowden, who had a very good half inning on the mound there. Still on the mound is Logan Bird, who starts that one off with a strike. For those of you keeping up at home, over on Field 2, we have a tie ball game between Mohawk and Hilton Head. They are locked at 3 runs apiece in the 6th inning as that pitch is fouled straight back into the fence for strike number 2. And that brings the count to no balls and 2 strikes as Bodie Bowden tries to keep his day going as he has walked, reached on an error, and hit a 2 RBI single earlier in the game. And that pitch is across for strike 3. And that's going to bring on the second baseman, number 1, Larry Johnson, who I believe, after Bodie moved over to the mound, I believe Larry Johnson is the one who went and moved over to shortstop last half inning, but he started the game at second. As the first pitch is in, swung on for a strike. That brings the count to no balls and 1 strike. Larry Johnson said his favorite band is Creedence Clearwater Revival. And that pitch is right down Broadway for a strike. And that brings the count to no balls and 2 strikes. And I think that the hitter here might expect a curveball. And if I'm the coach, I'm calling a fastball inside. And that's going to be a curveball, and that's going to be grounded to Brian Berry at third. He fields it, throws over to first as Kayden Lee picks the ball out of the dirt. And Logan Bird gets some help from his defense there and gets the second out as that brings up number 8, Dakota Cornelius, to the plate as the coach for Sumter goes and gets the bat. And we have 2 outs here in this 9-8 ball game that Sumter leads in the bottom of the 6th inning. Logan Bird making good work on the mound. He squares around a bunt and pulls back for ball number 1. Dakota Cornelius said his favorite artist is NBA Youngboy as he squares around to bunt again. And that is low for ball number 2 as Logan Bird is trying to get his team back in the dugout to get back in this ball game. And the 2-0 pitch here. Dakota squares around to bunt once again. I don't think he really has any intention of bunting. I think he's trying to throw Logan Bird off his rhythm, and it might just be working as the count moves to 3 balls and no strikes here. And that's high and inside. Dakota Cornelius draws the walk there as he makes his way down to first and brings up the number 4 hole hitter, catcher number 18, Joshua Niswanger. Niswanger said his favorite band is Pink Floyd.
0-1 count now to the hitter Gross. Middleton looking in. He has his sign. Here's the pitch. Swung on to that. It's ripped to the left side.
Niswanger so far has walked, doubled, and flown out to the right fielder as he chops that one foul down the third base line. As we see some good hustle from the third base coach here as he picks up the ball. He's going to fire it back to the catcher right on target. And the catcher gives the ball back to the umpires. He puts it back in his ball bag and attached to his belt there. We have a runner at first, 2 outs, 0-1 pitch on the way. And that's chopped up the middle. Rhys Rouse making the move. He's going to throw over to first in time for the out. And we're going to see Latta come to bat here in the top of the 7th when we come back on the County Channel. Leading off the inning here for Latta is going to be the third baseman now, Brian Berry. And this is going to be Latta's last chance to get back in this ball game here as that one crosses for a ball. That's going to bring the count to 1-0. Latta needs at least 1 run here to keep this game going as Sumter leads 9-8 in the top of the 7th inning. And that's going to be a strike on the outside part of the plate. That brings the count even to 1-1. So far today, Brian has hit an RBI ground out, a double, and a single. And this is the 1-1 pitch on the way. And that's going to be off speed. That's going to be laced into left field. That's going to get through the hole on the left side of the infield as Brian Berry's aboard with a leadoff single. And that's going to bring up number 99, Kayden Lee.
Hit back up the middle. Middleton knocks it down. He will gather himself, but he throws it over the first baseman head. And a run will come.
Kayden Lee so far has flown out to center, had a sacrifice fly to right, and an RBI ground out to the second baseman. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a sacrifice bunt here down the third base line. If I were the head coach, that's what I would be calling for. And no, he's going to swing away as he hits a ground ball to the third baseman. He throws it over the shortstop at second, and that's going to be a double play. 5-6-3 double play as Kayden Lee slid into first base. And I think he may have just gotten thrown out of this baseball game because it looked like he may have slid into the first baseman. And you hate to see that there, ladies and gentlemen,
Now batting.
as Kayden Lee has to make his way out of the baseball game. And he is very frustrated with himself. Understandably so, but you can't just slide into the first baseman like that as the umpire tossed him out of the game. And he is now standing outside of the fence. And there are 2 downs. There are now 2 outs here in the top of the 7th inning. 9-8 ball game with J.P. Bly coming to the plate. And that was a great start to the inning. And unfortunately, that's just how the game goes sometimes, as Kayden Lee put a good swing on the ball, but he hit it right to the third baseman. And he was out at first there as we were trying to get back underway in this game, as I think they're going to get going back to the action here. And this is going to be J.P. Bly. And that's high to Bly for ball 1. That brings the count to 1 ball and no strikes to Bly.
Pitch count for Cal Middleton, 77.
And that's outside for ball 2. That brings the count to 2 balls and no strikes. In his free time, J.P. Bly enjoys drawing and fishing, and when he grows up, he wants to be a P.E. teacher. That pitch is lifted on the left side out to left field. Left fielder is camped under it. He makes the catch. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be your ball game. Sumter wins 9-8. And that means Sumter is going to advance.
Sumter will advance. And let's give a big round
And
of applause
Latta
for a
is
tremendous
going to be
win.
eliminated from the tournament. Congratulations on a good season to Latta and all their players. Tune in to Field 2 to catch the tail end of this Mohawk-Hilton Head game. They have some excitement building in the bottom of the 7th inning. Thank you for joining us here on the Beaufort County Channel.
Sign your pitching affidavit.
Good job, guys. Thank you.
Now pitching for Mohawk,